All right. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday evening. My name is Dr. Jeremy Thornton. I am an internist, a chiropractic physician, and a clinical nutritionist, and I practice in Missouri. So I've been in practice 20 years. I'm very passionate about the ketone conversation, passionate about the ketogenic lifestyle, and I love to share it with folks. And so some of you are probably on here because, somebody invited you to this ketone conversation. You may not know what in the world we're talking about or what you're here for, but I hope that we can give you some good information. I hope that we can give you some value that will hopefully make your life better, improve your life, and that's what our mission is. So anyway, when we talk about ketones, people say, well, what is that? And so it's not a keystone, right? It's not a beer. Ketones are not a 50s band. Ketones are actually an energy molecule. Everybody has heard of glucose, right? Everybody heard of glucose. So we know what sugar is, right? We know that our cells can burn sugar. And what most people don't know is our cells can burn two forms of fuel. Glucose is the least efficient one of those. Our cells can also burn ketones. So ketones are another energy substrate that our cells can burn and actually can burn more efficiently than they can glucose. Studies show 38% more efficient than glucose at producing energy. So most people that come into the ketone conversation have probably heard of ketones, either maybe because their Uncle Al had type 1 diabetes and he had a situation called ketoacidosis, and ketones are scary. Well, no, ketones aren't scary. Scientists actually call ketones a superfuel. Other people that have heard of ketones, they think that ketones are all about the Atkins diet, right? 30 million people did the Atkins diet and heard of ketones as a process of getting their body in. So I've asked Wendy Chavez to hop on and share a little bit about what the ketogenic lifestyle is, why we would want to do a ketogenic diet, what's the purpose, and share just a little bit about her journey with the ketogenic lifestyle. And then we're going to transition talking about this ketone technology. So, Wendy, welcome.
The ketogenic diet is a high-fat, moderate protein, low-carb diet. And what is the optimal way to do it is to keep your carbs at 20 grams or less a day. And that's how I do it. I do what's called lazy keto, which means I don't count macros. So that can get a little confusing for beginners, all these percentages and numbers, and they're like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do this? And so I simply tell people, you know what, learn to count carbs and keep it simple, and that's the best way to do it. A lot of people overthink things, and they read all this information and they're just totally bumfuzzled because of everything that's out there. And I always tell people, you know what, it's really super simple. You're going to eat, people I think have a misconception of the keto diet that it's all bacon, eggs, and cheese. And, that's simply not true. People ask me every day, what do you eat? And I said, man, I eat a lot of veggies. I think Brussels sprouts are my favorite, but, and one of the way, I incorporate healthy fats into my diet. And that's, that doesn't necessarily mean I eat bacon all the time because that's not good. I mean, just because you're on a ketogenic diet doesn't mean it's a free-for-all. You still have to have things in moderation. So one of the ways that I like to incorporate healthy fats into my diet is with MCT oil. And I do that in the form every morning of, I'm sure you guys have heard, and maybe you haven't heard of bulletproof coffee. I'm a huge coffee fanatic, and so I start my day off with bulletproof coffee. I mean, it's just, it has to be like that. It just can't, except for when you're on a reboot, and then I'm just dying. But, but other than that, for those of you that don't know what bulletproof coffee is, it's just coffee. I add a tablespoon of heavy cream, a tablespoon of butter, and a tablespoon of MCT oil. So that's a great way to start off your day with some really healthy fats. I also am very passionate about artificial sweeteners. They are very bad for you. So I recommend staying away from things like Sweet and Low and Splenda and all of those things, because not only are they bad for you, but they will cause, they can cause weight loss stalls, and they can actually cause you to gain weight. I actually gained 6 pounds drinking Diet Dr. Pepper and Crystal Light. So I kind of had to learn the hard way on as far as that goes. So my, as far as bulletproof coffee goes, everybody asks, I'm like, I'm a Truvia girl. I love it. That's what I do. And so along with incorporating healthy fats, and keeping those carbs low, you're going to want to eat, like I said, incorporate a lot of veggies into your diet. All of the green veggies that you can think of: asparagus, Brussels sprouts, broccoli. We do zucchini and mushrooms, tons of stuff like that. Like I said, you know, the keto diet is not just bacon and eggs. I had one girl contact me, and she says, I'm so tired of eating eggs. And I'm like, why are you just eating eggs? I'm like, that's crazy. No, you don't do that. And so that's kind of the ketogenic diet is to me. Like I said, I don't encourage beginners to count macros. It's just confusing. Keep it simple. That's my number one motto. And learn how to count carbs and just, cut out sugars. And so for me, I've been doing the ketogenic way of life for a year now, actually. And I've lost 120 pounds, which is crazy. I know. Awesome. So excited. And so it's been super amazing for me. I feel so much better just in all aspects of my life. And so a year ago, when I first was kind of, at the crossroads of what to do as far as, health and weight goes, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and that alone freaked me out. And not only was I the heaviest that I'd ever been, but I was now diagnosed with this horrible disease. I knew I had done it to myself because it doesn't run in either side of my family. So my weight had contributed to that. So fast forward a year later through the ketogenic diet, and just, ketones helping along with that. I have reversed my diabetes. I'm no longer on any kind of medication. And it's just amazing. I remember I took a screenshot of my labs and I sent them to Dr. Jeremy, and I was like, tell me what it means. And so just to hear his words were amazing. I actually wrote them down. And I was like, I'm keeping that. I'm going to hang that on, my bathroom mirror. So, but yeah, that's kind of been my journey with the ketogenic diet. It's been amazing. My husband I can point to him on the screen. I see him watching. He's doing good too. He's lost 57 pounds. So we're like the keto, amazing keto shrinking couple over here.
Keto couple. Keto duo couple. Wow, that's awesome. And I love when Wendy shares her story, not only because she's been through so much with this the ketogenic lifestyle, she's also added this ketone technology. And so Wendy, tell us why somebody might want to do a ketogenic lifestyle. We hear about weight loss, and certainly that's a part of it. But what's the process? What's about eating fat, lowering carbs? What's that do to your body, and why would we want to do that?
Well, a lot for me, and I can speak for myself. I can also speak for my husband, but just the amount of inflammation that you're going to get your body is going to reduce in inflammation. My husband has rheumatoid arthritis, so he's got a lot of inflammation, and he's got inflammation. But he has seen such a huge reduction in his body because of eating a lower. I say I'm lazy keto. He's like lazy keto. But he utilizes his ketones, and the reduction in his inflammation has been huge for him. It has been huge. I like to say that my mom brain is completely gone. I used to be the mom at 2 o'clock in the morning, I mean, not 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when you kind of doze off and then you're like, oh my gosh, did I forget to pick up my kids? That panic attack you kind of have, like, oh my God, did I just forget to pick up my kid? But I don't have that anymore. I'm just like, I can go and keep up. And I love that. And, the mental clarity is amazing too. It's almost kind of like you didn't know how much brain fog you had until it's not there anymore. So those are kind of amazing things that I've seen and experienced, along with James has as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the ketogenic lifestyle with the low carb approach basically helps your body to flip a metabolic switch, which creates which helps your body to burn, instead of burning glucose and carbs for fuel, like, most, 99.9% of Americans do. We call them carbivores, right? Just all about carbs and burning glucose for fuel. By doing a ketogenic approach, our body actually flips the switch to start to burn fat for fuel, right? We burn our own body fat for fuel. And the neat thing about that is that ketones, which are what the liver creates from those fatty acids, do not require insulin to get inside the cell. So that's one reason that Wendy had such a dramatic improvement with her blood sugar disorder, is because she switched fuel sources, right? She started using ketones for fuel because the whole blood sugar insulin mechanism wasn't working, obviously, and allowed that to heal. So some pretty remarkable things when you look at the conversation of ketones and ketosis. So, I had experienced a ketogenic lifestyle like 30 million other people did over 20 years ago when the Atkins diet, gained popularity. Anybody do the Atkins diet with me? Right? Several people tried that. So it was very effective at helping me lose weight. It was, I love being in ketosis. If you've never done that, I encourage you to experience it. You can do it the hard way, like we did with the diet, or you can use that, which we'll talk about a little bit more. And so I had trouble maintaining it as a lifestyle, right? I would go in and out of ketosis. I joke, if I even looked at a piece of bread, I was knocked out of ketosis and back into sugar burning mode. And so it was actually Dr. Annette who was on here. She's still on here. I think there she is. She's over in the corner. I see her now. She's in the dark. Dr. Annette was making a comment of that she was doing something to lose weight and feel better. And at that time, I wasn't doing a ketogenic lifestyle. In fact, I wasn't taking good care of myself at all. I gained a lot of weight, wasn't making my health a priority. And so at that time, I desperately needed to feel better and lose weight. So I reached out to her and said, what are you doing? She goes, well, there's this new technology. It's a powder you mix in water and drink, and it puts your body into a state of ketosis. So honestly, I thought she had lost her mind. Because, how could a drink do something that took me days, usually 10 days or more of strict dieting to produce in my body? Didn't make sense. So I asked her to send me a sample. She sent me and my wife, Sarah, a sample, just one. It was a little white packet with a white powder in it. Told me to mix half of a packet in water. And like most doctors, I didn't listen. I shook the whole thing up and drank it. And I literally had a first dose experience. Now, not everybody does. But I had a first dose experience. I often say it lit me up like a Christmas tree. I had this crazy surge of energy and focus and mental clarity. It didn't, like Wendy said, I didn't realize I had so much brain fog until it was lifted. It was like somebody turned the lights back on. Still didn't believe it was ketosis. All right. I thought I got maybe some kind of crazy amounts of some type of stimulant or caffeine or whatever. So I quickly had to go to the office, to my clinic, right? Because those that have ever done a ketogenic diet know that you can test your urine. Some people probably think that's strange, but you can do a pee test. And if this little strip turns pink or purple, you're in a state of ketosis. And indeed it did. So I kind of had a mind-blown moment, but I was still super skeptical. I thought, well, maybe it's just doing something weird to my urine, right? So I knew that ketosis was a state of elevated blood ketone levels. So then had to do blood test on myself. And sure enough, my blood ketone levels were elevated too. So was crazy impressed, started utilizing this technology myself, ended up dropping 45 pounds pretty quickly. And but what I was most excited about is what it did for my brain and what it did for my mental clarity. And I just felt like I had me back. I don't know how long I'd been gone, but I felt like I had me back. And so I can tell you lots of stories about just transformations in my family alone, in patients. We'd be here all night though. So I will tell you that although a lot of people come into the ketogenic conversation for fat loss, that's a very small portion of the benefits of being in ketosis. And we don't even call this ketogenic or this ketone technology a fat loss supplement. We don't, although many people experience that, and we're very thankful that that's a beneficial side effect. It's not really a fat loss product. So if you look at the ketogenic lifestyle, if you look at ketones and ketosis, research goes back 100 years when they found out that this high-fat, low-carb diet could help some kids not have seizures anymore. It was used as a treatment for drug-resistant cases of epilepsy in kids. So the early studies weren't even on adults. It was on kids with seizures. And so we knew that there was benefits to the brain with ketones, right? We weren't even talking about fat loss back then. So, you know, we fast forward, in the last 5 years, there's been more research on the ketones and the ketogenic diet and ketosis than the previous 100 years combined. And you know there wouldn't be this much volume of research going on if there wasn't a tremendous amount of benefit that was showing up in health, in disease processes, in human performance. And so it's just super exciting time we live in, and especially with this ketone technology. And so, you know, the current research that's going on with the ketogenic lifestyle, ketones and ketosis go from everything from, you know, of course, seizures and kids with autism and ADHD, all the way to other cognitive disorders and neurodegenerative conditions like Parkinson's and ALS and Alzheimer's disease. There's currently studies going on with ketones and autoimmune diseases, chronic inflammatory conditions, blood sugar disorders, all over the gamut of athletic and human performance and biohacking. And what most people don't realize is this technology actually started as for elite soldiers and Navy SEALs is where the original technology began with the product that we're sharing with you tonight. So that's a little bit about a very tiny bit about my experience with ketones and ketosis. I wanted more of a newbie to hop on. A friend of mine named Kat Evans, who's had an amazing, you know, transformation already in her short journey with ketogenic lifestyle and with this ketone technology. So I asked Kat to hop on. She was super thrilled and excited to join us tonight. And so I wanted her to share just a little bit with you about her journey so far.
Yes. Hey, everybody. I'm super stoked to be on. And I think with you talking about autoimmune and stuff, I think I have more value in speaking on that, maybe more so than I even do my weight loss right now. Just a little backstory on me. I was diagnosed with lupus and fibromyalgia whenever I was 17 years old. And I've always been a bigger person, but I've always been athletic, and I've always worked 2-3 jobs at a time, always. And I've struggled with it through my life, but I just always worked through it. And here, when I was 40, I just turned 43. When I was 40, I had a complete hysterectomy. And it threw my lupus into overdrive. And I started having symptoms like I'd never had before. And then all of a sudden, I started having problems with my back and my neck. And they found out I had degenerative disc disorder. And so I went in and I had a neck surgery done. I have no disc in my neck and my back. It's just completely gunk. They just scraped it all out, put plates and bars all the way down my neck. I'm too big to have surgery on my back. So I'm just dealing with that right now. But I had to quit my job. I worked for our town, for the government, and I ran our community swimming pool, and I did the park and recreation, all the events, the parades. And I also worked for 3 funeral homes where I went and picked up bodies, you know, and did the funeral services and all that kind of thing. I had to quit both jobs last June because my autoimmune diseases had all gotten so bad that I was stuttering and I couldn't talk. They thought it had gotten in my brain. My arms were jerking just like this. My other hand was curled up, and I was pulling my left leg and dragging it. I would take a step with my left leg, and then I would pull my right leg up to me. I had such a brain fog that you'll still catch me every once in a while where I'll try to find my words, and I just can't think of them, you know. So if I'm ever talking to you and I stop for a minute, you know, sometimes I have to stop and still think, but I was legitimately had a full on stutter, and I quit last June, and I just couldn't work. I couldn't figure my audit was completely screwed up for the town. My books for the swimming pool, my accounting, everything was screwed up. And I mean, I would be down there all hours of the night refiguring simple math. I just couldn't do anything anymore. It had affected my whole nervous system, everything. And got to the best rheumatologist in Oklahoma. You know, of course, they started me on all the chemo shots, all that stuff. If you go through if you're a friend of mine, you can go through. My whole family and friends have been following my journey. I've been in bed for the last year, literally in bed, except for all these doctor's appointments. I am in pain management, still in pain management. I have a rheumatologist and, of course, my regular doctor. And then I've also have keratoconus in both my eyes. I've had a cornea transplant. It's the lupus and all the autoimmune diseases are in my eyes. And I've got cataracts and had those removed, new lens. Everything is affecting my organs. It's all throughout my body. So I'm trying to keep this short here. Inflammation like you wouldn't believe. I mean, just my muscles stayed on fire. There's no amount of pills they could give me. I'm still on 24 prescription pills, including chemo shots, Humira shots. But right now I'm only taking them once a day compared to 4 times a day, which my doctors don't really know that, but I don't need them 4 times a day. But kind of to go back on the backstory a little bit, I have been laying in bed with chronic fatigue, chronic pain, crying, screaming, passing out from pain, not able to take a shower on my own, having to have my husband and my mother shower me because the pain was so bad that I can't do it by myself. Having to have them clothe me, and I've tried everything. And I gained another 90 pounds while I was off work because I'd been so used to moving and going, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't move. The autoimmune diseases just attacked me. I've got rheumatoid arthritis as well. I didn't add that in. That came across this last year. And they added that on to when they started doing the blood panels and all that stuff. I've got rheumatoid arthritis as well. So that's another autoimmune disease that they added onto my list. And more meds, more with pain management, you know. And I went and they did an MRI in my brain because we're trying to figure out where the stuttering and, you know, where all this is coming from, the shaking, and, you know, the meds were starting to help a little bit. And I was starting to kind of let go of my shake just a little bit, starting to let go of the stutter a little bit. Brain fog was just horrible. Like, I can't remember anything. My lupus fog was just horrific. And not that I would ever do anything to myself. I would never, ever do anything to myself. But I was at the point where I was waiting for God to take me. And I would wake up and I would say, you know, why didn't, you know, just take me in my sleep. I'm not useful to anybody anymore. I'm not a good wife. I'm not a good daughter. I'm not a good mother. I can't do anything for anybody anymore. You know, why are you keeping me alive to stay here and lay in this bed? I am miserable. I was always the one that everybody called on in town, you know, to help me, you know, who do I get a hold of? I had keys to everything in town. I was the one that was getting everybody in touch with everything. I was helping everybody, and it went to nothing. And I couldn't even help myself. I couldn't even take a shower. I couldn't even clothe myself. I couldn't even go grocery shopping. I couldn't even do anything. And I couldn't get on disability. They wouldn't let me on disability. You know how that goes, even with a lawyer, still getting appealed, still getting denied. And I've been going through CAT scans. I had cracked ribs from an MRI because I'm too big. At this point, I'm 515 pounds. And we're talking March this year. And they wanted to do an MRI of my brain because of all the stuttering and everything and the cognitive skills. So I shouldn't have let them do it, but I had a little girl that, bless her heart, I let her put me in the MRI machine and it cracked my ribs. I was completely smushed in to the hydraulic machine. My face and nose and everything was completely smashed into the machine. And when I came out, I couldn't talk for like 30 minutes. It had smashed my voice box completely, and I cracked ribs in the MRI machine. But I wanted to see what was going on with my brain. So they found nothing. So I just couldn't imagine. Well, this time we're wanting to do CAT scans for my back. Got to figure out something with my back. I'm still big. I'm still hurting. They're trying to figure out what's going wrong because I'm screaming, just screaming in pain. I mean, it's just, I can't even describe the pain that I'm in. And I'm maxed out. Every pill, every shot, everything, infusion, you know, whatever we can do, we're doing. And, you know, they just don't know what to do with me. And I'm so big, that's what everybody looks at me and says, well, you know, if you'd lose weight. CAT scan, I go down to the Spine and Brain Institute where I've been going. They go to put me in a CAT scan. I'll get all checked in and everything. By this time, I'd bought $1,000 wheelchair because, you know, you're big. I'm big. So I had to buy a big one. You can't just buy a regular one. My husband takes me in, wheels me in, get me all checked in. And the lady comes out and looks at me to get me. And she stands me up and she goes, oh, we can't fit you in. She said, your hips are too big. There's no way you'll fit in. And mind you, I'm just dying in pain already. I can't stand the drive. It takes me 2 hours to get there. My legs are numb. My legs are cracking open. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? And she said, well, why don't you call the equine center at OSU where they give the horses their CAT scans and see if they can fit you on one of the machines where they put the horses at. And that was it. I'd had it. You know, not that I'm not used to hearing that kind of thing because I hear it every day when I go out. I get the looks every day. I have my whole life. I'm used to it. I'm used to people. I'm used to the rudeness. I'm used to it. But I just thought it's time. We're into April now. And April 25th, I had enough. And I just decided, I've lost weight before. I've lost 170 pounds before, but on low carb. But I struggled, and I was out swimming, and I was out bicycling, and, you know, staying hard to keep that weight off. And I gained it all back, plus 250, 300 more. Because like I said, at my heaviest, April 25th, I'm 515 pounds and hurting. Like I said, just praying for God to take me, just take me. Like I said, I would hate to leave my husband and everything, but just praying for God to take me because I can't live this way. And I'm laying in bed one night, scrolling through my phone. And that one up there in the corner comes across my phone, Wendy. And I started watching her, and I'm like, she's so soothing and calming, you know. And I had been praying for a year for God to send me somebody. Sorry.
We love you, Kat.
I've been praying for a year for God to send me somebody that would help me to get my life back and that would make me want to live again. And I started following Wendy. And I don't know, Wendy, if you remember or not, I called her maybe the next day. I reached out to her. And I think we bawled and talked for a couple hours. I don't know. And I don't know. It was like that next day. I mean, I had already started the keto, and I'd been doing it for about 2 weeks. And I was losing weight because I'm stubborn. I know how to do stuff. I know how to lose weight. I know how to do everything. But it was hard. And I would eat one thing that I wasn't supposed to. Well, here come all the weight again, you know. And I was out of ketosis. Finally, it was a long time before I even knew what Wendy was doing. I was just following her recipes and I was following her guidance. And then all of a sudden I was like, Greek, what is she drinking? Wait a minute. What's she talking about? Is there something I'm missing? You know? And I found out about the ketones and I was like, hey, whatever you got, I want to know about it, you know? So I did a 10-day and I had the first day whoosh and I didn't think I had a first sip whoosh. I looked at my husband and of course he was skeptical because I have done everything and I have wasted so much money, so much of our money on Thrive and Plexus and all this Spark, whatever you want to name, I've done it. And it's been sitting in our pantry and, you know, and he's like, we're not going to do nothing else. And, you know, I said, just let me try this one more time. Just let me try it. And, thank God he's a good husband like he is because he told me to do it. And God dang it.
Good job, Kat.
So I got the 10-day and I mean it was that night. I told her, I said, I don't know what flavor I like because I haven't even gotten through them yet, but I said I want in. And I started drinking them, and I mean, I got up that day, and Brandon didn't have to help me up. I went and got dressed, and he still was watching because he was skeptical, you know, and he wasn't drinking them. He said, I'm not going to drink any of your drinks or whatever, you know. I still tease him about it, and he started watching me, and I started getting up, and I was waking up, and I was, you know, sitting in my chair, and getting up from the bed and moving and waking up. I mean, I literally was sleeping for 24 hours in the bed, like not even getting up to hardly go pee, you know. And some of my friends were even coming seeing me because they thought I was going to die. And they're telling me that now. They didn't tell me that then, but they've sent me messages and called me and told me they were coming to see me because they thought I was getting ready to die. And it's gone. I mean, I'm still struggling, but anyways, you know, that's just where it started. And I'm still got my autoimmune diseases and I'm still struggling. I'm always going to have because I have no disc in my back. So, you know, until I can get the weight off and get that surgery done, you know, I'm always going to be struggling with that. That's something that, you know, keto, nothing can fix that. That's the damage is done there. So I'm dealing with stuff like that, you know, I've done a lot of damage to my body being this big and, you know, I haven't been so good to my body in my 43 years, but I just cannot, I cannot believe, I mean, I just kept waking up and I kept telling Brandon, I said, this has got to be too good to be true. Am I going to fall off of this? Am I in a euphoria of some kind, you know? And I sent Dr. Thornton a message and I said, what? Something is not right. And I kept saying to Wendy, I said, something's not right. This is going to stop. What's the deal, you know? And he just said, no, you're back to yourself. You're back to your native state. You're back to where you're supposed to feel. That's you, Kat. You know, that's yourself. You're feeling how you're supposed to feel. Because I was back to my smart ass self, you know, giving people, you know, teasing people and jabbing people and, you know, and my muscles had stopped burning, had stopped the pains, just felt like somebody had just jabbing knives into me 24/7. And my legs stopped, you know, and I mean, everything has stopped. I can't. Look, I can close my fingers after the reboot. I haven't been able to do that for years. I just realized that. And after the reboot, I've lost 59 pounds since April 25th. 59 pounds. And I started April 25th. And I want to finish that up with where I was going with all that. The ketones was the tool that I needed. It's like I've had this piece of this puzzle since I was 17, sitting there putting this puzzle together, and I have reworked this puzzle, and I have reworked this 1,000 puzzle again and again and again. And I have done everybody's program, and I have done every single thing, but somebody was holding this piece of this puzzle, and it was these ketones. I am telling you, it was these ketones, and I will never, ever, ever stop drinking these ketones. I don't care what studies they come up with, or if they say something, I don't care. I know what they've done in my life. I know what they've done in my husband's life. And to bring my life back and to make me feel like I have again and to make me want to live again, you will never tell me anything other than this is the most amazing technology I have got my life back. I was laying there waiting to die. And I'm not that type of person. If you know me yet at all yet or anything, I'm a stubborn fireball, and I'm not that type of person. And if you are on the fence about ketones, if you think that this is something you can't afford, let me tell you, for one, we're not spending as much as food. Two, we're not buying. We were the same as Wendy. We're a drink household. So, and I've always been one. I know I'm very big, but honestly, I drank more of my calories and my carbs and everything than I did eat. And you can even ask my husband. He was always like, do you like sneak eat when I'm not watching or what? Because we had the Crystal Lights and the Gatorades. And now I did drink pop. I was a Dr. Pepper and Coke. It didn't matter. Pepsi, Coke, Dr. Pepper, whatever. I drank it. But I was sugar, the drinks, all that stuff we were buying, And I don't know who's on here. I'm horrible at looking to see who's all on here. So I don't really know if I'm talking to new people or what. But let me tell you, one less little shopping trip to Walmart, all those drinks that we're not buying anymore. Like Brandon and I were sitting there talking and figuring it out the other day. We are really actually saving money than what we were spending before, and on the eating out and everything. So if you're on the fence about that, we have really saved money buying the ketones, which now we get them free. So, we're really saving money because we're not even buying them. So, but, gosh, just don't even hesitate. I'm telling you. And that's one reason why I wanted to do the reboot too. I will not promote anything that I haven't done for myself. And I'm not one of those that's going to do something and say, yeah, boy, that works. You better, you need to do that. That works 100%. No, you're not going to get that from me. You're not going to get that from me because I'm not going to do that unless I've done it myself. And I did the reboot and I didn't cheat on it. I lost 12.4 pounds. I feel great. I had so many just breakthroughs physically, mentally, spiritually. Had a couple breakdowns, but between Wendy and my buddy and the reboot page and the community, it literally lasted like 5 minutes. It wasn't nothing big. It was like hunger pain. Ooh, I want something to eat. And then it passed. My lupus spots. I have had lupus spots on my face for 11 to 12 months now. They're flat and they're gone. I mean, you can still see where they were because they've been there for months, but they're gone. They're gone from a 60-hour reboot. I don't know. I don't know what else to say, but if you're hesitating, don't. I'm a straight shooter, and just ketones have saved my life. They've saved my life. Brandon is the same way as James, Wendy's husband. He does lazy keto. And he's lost 30 pounds since April 25th. And he still eats bread and, whatever he wants to eat. And he drinks the ketones. And he was one, he's got pulmonary fibrosis due to his job. So he's at home now. He's got blockage 2 and obstruction 2 and restriction from his lungs. So he's basically got black lung now. And he's at home, and he was one of those that had to eat every 2 hours, or he would feel like his stomach was getting sick. And the ketones are helping him from that grazing and that wanting to eat all the time, because Brandon was, I mean, one of the just athletic, no ounce of fat on him, complete muscle, strong, you know, always been that way. So being bigger was new to him since he's been home. And he's rocking the ketone thing without even trying. I mean, he drinks them and does whatever he wants. He still lost 30 pounds, not even trying to do anything. So I could ramble on all night too, Dr. J. So, you know.
Awesome, Kat. Goodness. I think we should have a mic drop after that, right? I don't think anybody can follow that story. So powerful, powerful, powerful. One thing I want to make mention of is, you know, ketones, the ketogenic lifestyle. This whole conversation is big as far as potential health benefits. And one thing that we can't do because of being a nutritional supplement is we can't make medical claims. You know, we can't say that ketones treat something, that ketones treat disease or reverse disease. But what you can do is you can Google the ketogenic lifestyle. You can Google ketones and ketosis and various health conditions, and you can start to see that the research is out there, or the research is coming in a lot of these areas. And some of them are still not well understood, other than they're seeing some mighty benefits. And so, this is an amazing tool, and it's just a tool that a lot of people need to help them get to their next level, to help them get their life, you know, back under control, to help them get their health back under control, to help them reach their version of better. And that looks different in everybody. It's a different story. But there's a lot of people on here that have had amazing health transformations, personal transformations. And I will let you know if you get a chance to try this ketone technology, that you will not be disappointed. Somebody try to say something?
One thing. Can I say one more thing?
Go for it, Kat.
This isn't on a happy note, but Monday I'm going in for an appointment. Something else too, getting the weight off, and that I would have never found out if I hadn't done these ketones and gotten this weight off. I've got a very large lump in my throat, and it's not thyroid, or I don't know what it is. It's golf ball size, and it's very long, and it's right here on my throat. You don't know if you can see any of it, but it goes all the way across. I wouldn't have found that. I wouldn't have found it. But I've lost all that weight in my neck, and I can see it and feel it now, and it's huge. I've had problems swallowing, and I've been choking for a few years, but my doctors keep saying, oh, it's acid reflux. You got acid reflux. And I've had to have the Heimlich maneuver done on me twice. And I can kind of see it. I don't know if you can or not, but there's a huge lump on my throat. I wouldn't have found that if I hadn't lost this weight.
Wow.
So, we'll see what it is. I'm not sure what it is yet, but
well, we'll be in prayers that it's nothing serious.
But thank God that I lost the weight so I could find out what it is.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kat. I appreciate your sharing your heartfelt testimony.
Thank you.
It's so powerful. And I know somebody on here will be changed by it, or somebody that gets to watch this later will be changed by it. And hopefully we'll reach out and explore this ketone conversation, explore this amazing technology, this ketone technology. So with that being said, I wanted to open up if there's any quick questions that we can answer. Just simply unmute yourself. Feel free to ask questions. If not, we will wrap things up. Kat, you've left everybody speechless. Wanda.
I do have a question. Kat, beautiful story. You had me in tears. But just one question for Wendy and your husband with the RA. Are you doing one drink or two drinks?
We do two drinks a day.
Okay.
I
finally got my father on the drinks. He's still very, very skeptical. And I hope to share this cat story with him as soon as the recording is posted. But
Awesome.
thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Want to keep us updated.
Yeah.
Great, guys. Well, sir, appreciate you guys hopping on tonight. I know we've kept you a little longer than we wanted to, but who would have wanted to miss that testimony? Thank you, Kat. Appreciate that. Wendy, thank you for hopping on and helping. Appreciate all you guys for joining in on this Wednesday evening and sharing your time. If you have any questions about the ketogenic lifestyle, about ketones and ketosis, please reach out. Somebody can hook you up with a 5 or a 10-day experience to not only try the technology, but try some of the different flavors. Appreciate you all. Love you all. Hope to talk to you again soon. Bye, guys.